And it's recording. Okay, hi. Right, we're just going to not do an assessment of Ashton Road. I know that sounds weird, but it's been sold subject to contract, but I saw some issues with it, and I want to just quickly talk you through these issues because in any event, it would have been an avoid, and I'll explain why. So let's get into it. And the very first thing I want to point out is that this roof is quite bowed. It's not particularly straight. Oh, I'm sorry. That would help. So this property, this terrace is built in, the property and terrace built in 1908, as you see, because there's a thing there telling us that. But anyway, we've got these ley landi. I don't know who owns them, and they're always problematic. Amongst other things, you get root growth, and it's just not good. It's dangerous to have trees, so big trees so close to a building, just because you get roots growing through and then you get problems with foundations. And they're disgusting, amongst other things, and enormous. Right, the other issue is that if you look at the roof, you can see here, happily, thank you Google Maps, you can see here the way it's quite bowed. So you've got the separating wall and you've got this big old dip. That's not a problem in itself, but I'm just saying it's a minor issue. These things, they all kind of add up to being problematic. Now, on the face of it, what a nice house. Doesn't that look good? And beautiful modern kitchen, very nice double doors back into the yard, modern bathroom. You'd be like, ooh, I like this house. And it would look good if you just went with that, but that doesn't tell you the whole story. And we'll go through the videos because, you know, Viewer and all that. And quite an old boiler, that's fine. Modern consumer unit, good. Gas meter, good. Back decking needs to be fixed. Backyard, looking okay. Back of house, now the brick quality is okay, not great, I would say. Now 1908 is really just Victorian age. The roof is okay, not especially good. You can see here there's a little aluminium tingle. It's a thing that holds the slate in. So a lot of these slates have gone, and you can see next door they just decided to pull the trigger and get a new roof. And this would be an original roof. I think this is the right house, isn't it?
No.
No, it isn't. I'm sorry. Let me get the right folder because the other folder. Oh, this is the one. Yeah, this is full of interesting nastiness, basically. So we've got new doors. Now, something to note here. That's a modern door. They're both brown. Why are they both brown? Because there's probably some kind of restrictive covenant on what you can do on this road. Is this a leasehold or a freehold? Do we know?
It should be leasehold.
Yeah, so I bet there are some restrictive covenants on these properties, like you have to have brown doors, because if you notice, all the woodwork along here is brown. Now, I'm not saying for sure, but just covenants, restrictive covenants, don't like them. Anyway, moving on, very rustic brickwork, that's fine. As I said earlier,
Nick,
front road.
That was the original brown. Next door they changed on 3D, you can see.
Yeah, so this is all double glazing, modern double glazing, but the point I'm making about the restrictive covenants is that this would be a property of architectural interest, and it might be a conservation area, and they might be saying, okay, if you want double glazing, can't be white, must be brown. That's why your door has to be brown, has to be in theme, because this is what you would call an arts and crafts property. It was a particular architectural style back then. And you can see here, for example, the roof hasn't had much attention. There's moss and there's tingles. So these little things here hold in roof slates. Or maybe that's moss, actually. It looks like moss. But anyway, the roof is okay. It's just quite bowed, and you can see the slates here that have bowed a bit. Moving on. The back, this is not good, really. It's all a bit of a mess. The brickwork, I don't really like these bricks. I think they're not very good quality bricks, relatively speaking, and they would be problematic. But that's not the bad stuff. Let's keep moving along. Okay, we've got a fuse. Yeah, nothing. I just think this is not particularly well done. But that's not the horror. I call it a horror. It's not horrible. It's just not nice. So let's have a look here at this. We've got a leak somewhere. That's fine. I understand. Leaks happen. You can fix those. This is the problem. So lurking in the cupboard is a load of rising damp, and it's got mold on it. And the problem is this property must, by my opinion, we've had a leak here and something's gone through. So we can look at the floor plan maybe a little later on. You can see here on the edge, you've got mold building out here. So there's a problem. Now, normally I'd be saying, and look, here we go, more rising damp. So typically I would say, well, that's all manageable. We can sort that out. It's not a big deal. But I just want to show you the telltale picture here. If I go to the front of the property, guess what? It's already had damp-proof treatment. And the problem with this building is the foundations weren't done right. It's mostly damp-proofed, but where they didn't do it quite right, you got issues, quite big issues. So it's a fundamentally troublesome property from this respect. And of course, now it's sold. So if it wasn't sold, I'd be saying great, but I'd be just a bit wary of restrictions of use, i.e. restrictions with this property, what you can and can't do in the way of renovations and things like that. So you'd have to look at the title deeds to see exactly what's going on. And as I said, it's got a damp problem. It's also had a leakage somewhere. That's not really very good. I just want to have a very quick look at the floor plan. And then we can finish up there. So where's that floor plan? There it is. So there was a leak here. Well, it came from the bathroom. So there you go. So leaks happen. It's just annoying because you have to repair them. It's a reasonable sized property. It's a reasonable amount of money. Would it have been a great deal? I don't know. But I just think it would have been a troublesome one from the point of view of damp. Yeah?
I want to add for the property comparables.
Yeah.
Just see, because when we are here, I just want to add all the terrace house around. So basically, if I go to so I will share my screen. So 190, 200, 167, 160.
Yeah.
But it's not the same 180, 130, but not same type of, because it's hard to find the same type of properties. But I can say that 190 is a good price, and it will rent nice because from outside it looks like a.
Yeah, but you've got to sort out the damp, and that's a problem. So it's not especially serious. It's just hassle. So it probably needs about £6,000 in it.
Here is an example.
But
like
the thing I don't like about these properties with these damp issues is it just means they're just fundamentally not that well built. And you're in the landlord game for making money without hassle. And properties like that, which are character properties.
Yeah.
Just not.
So
it's not.
My point of view for these properties, it will rent well, really well. So
Yes, it will rent well.
It will rent for 900, I guess, A75. So let's say 900, 12, so 190, you will take it for 210K to renovate it. Maybe one more, but let's say 10. So okay, let's get 15 for. So the GL will be 5. So
yeah, it's a bit on the low side.
Just because, but the house looks nice, but it only looks like. But basically, when you check it out more.
Yeah, there are issues. Not huge issues. It's just not a brilliantly built house. And if it was £130,000 in some terrace somewhere, brick quality was reasonable, it had damp proofing done, that would be okay. It would just be an economy renter, get a good yield, shouldn't give you too much trouble if it was renovated deeply. But my suspicion with this property is it's going to come with restrictions and
Yeah, I just want to add that the location is nice. It doesn't have any flooding or mining issues. The closest mining is on this stadium. So basically, it's really close to academy, to market, to access to highway. So here you have academies as well. But the location is really nice. It's on the main road, but it's not really.
Yeah,
like
well,
noisy.
it's a
Yeah.
slow main road, and there will be quite a lot of traffic running along there. But
Yeah,
it's
but
not a noisy big road. It's just a big
Yeah, and you
slope.
have two parking slots or even three. So yeah, it's the location is very nice. So
Okay,
but
well,
it's unfortunately sold. So
yeah, exactly.
and the yield will not work really well. So I think there is better properties.
Yeah, but like I say, damp is just dampening. Honestly,
And also you have void periods for with the dump, at least 1 month until you.
Yeah, well, you got to get it renovated, and it's just, and the issue is just there's so much competition for damp proofers. Believe it or not, it's one of those weird things. I say that it's just generally getting renovations done is hassle, but if they're the right kind of renovations, it's all good. So if it's a straight paint and decorate with some work, maybe some damp proofing, but the idea is you keep the number of trades down to a minimum, just get in, clean it up, get out, kind of thing. Anyway, enough of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
On to the next one.
Yep.